Welcome to the premiere episode of the Exiled Club podcast. My name's DerekUpNorth, and with me is Jacobite Games. Jacobite, how you doing, man?
Dude, I'm doing great.
Oh, great. Your mic's working, so that's great.
That is at least the
bare minimum
of what we could do to make this come to life.
No shit. So guys, we're going to be talking about One Piece. Both Jacobite and I have watched the live action series on Netflix, and honestly, we had never been exposed to it before, and we both kind of unanimously decided we wanted to deep dive into the world of One Piece, the anime, for the very first time ever. And Jacobite, you're not
pirates.
Jacobite loves pirates, so selling him on the live action series after I watched it was like super easy, dude. But here's a question for you. As someone who doesn't like watching anime, what we're like, how do you feel about us like going into this world? It's like 1,000 episodes of anime. It's a huge mountain to climb.
It's a big mountain, and then that can also be very intimidating as well, for sure, especially for somebody who's never seen an anime.
Yeah.
It's, when somebody says, do you want to get into this, and do you want to watch all the episodes? Normally I'd say hell no. But again, I've spoken about this before, where if it's got something that's very interesting to you, or at least intrigues your interest with something you like, what got me with One Piece was pirates. Right away, just a basic thing of an era where pirates ruled the world, in a sense, or at least, let's say, ruled the sea. And that's a really cool thing to me. And,
Yeah.
I like to,
well,
as a modern day pirate,
yeah,
it was really cool to kind of see this turned into a cartoon, right? Sorry, an anime. But I mean, in a sense, I'm watching it as if I'm watching a cartoon, right?
Oh, absolutely. I think, we go, you mentioned it already, so we go back a couple weeks. The live action drops on Netflix. I've never seen it before. I knew of it because it's very popular, the manga, the anime. I got curious one night, decided to put it on. I think I got like 5-10 minutes into it, and I was like just blown away by Monkey D. Luffy and the acting in the film, or in the TV series. It was so well done, and I just immediately was glued. And then, of course, like you said, I instantly thought, you know what? Jacobite loves pirates. I got to tell him about this series. And I remember mentioning it to you on Discord there, and you had said, you're like, I don't know. And then I think I showed you a little bit, like from the trailer and what have you.
I think that intro sold me with the pirate map and Goldie, and I think that was kind of like one of the first scenes. And
yeah, I think I just showed you the Goldie Roger scene right at the beginning of the series.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that is exactly what got me interested, because you know what it reminded me of, and you might know this movie. You remember that movie, The Rat Race?
Rat Race. Yeah, I remember Rat Race.
The Rat Race. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's that. So when he's getting executed and he's talking about his treasure, that the big treasure that everybody's been looking for, he has his treasure and he's put it somewhere. And that was the bell. Everybody was just like, he wants us to find it. This is the big piece that would make us the king of the pirates, Goldie Roger's treasure.
Right.
And it's the title. It's One Piece. It's that important that this is what the whole show becomes, or at least starts off with anyways. 20 seasons down the road, I'm sure it evolves into something completely bigger than what it started off as. But that, I think, is the key to, what we're starting to watch here. And that whole thing got me so excited. As soon as he basically got executed, everybody started running. And that's when the whole journey begins. All the pirates jump in their pirate ships, and it's go time. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And if you know pirates, it's the beginning of a ruthless adventure. So it's kind of what yeah, it's the kind of the beginning of it all. It's the exciting part.
And I don't know about you, but for me, it felt like the beginning of a ruthless or just an adventure for me. As soon as like during the execution scene, you see everybody, they're all watching, they're all getting the information that the One Piece is something that they need to go and find, and then Goldie Roger is dead, and everybody just runs off. And all I can think is, I wanted to run off too. I wanted to get in a fucking boat and I wanted to go find the One Piece myself. Like that was how much it connected to me. It was like a little mix of, is this just a show or like is this real life? Because I was inspired. I wanted to go on an adventure and find the One Piece, which is honestly probably one of the reasons why I got so hooked right from the get-go. And of course, the anime does a wonderful job doing that exact same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It kind of, it's like being a kid again, watching the Goonies. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like when they want to go find the treasure, you know, I've always loved just the imagination of going to find a treasure. You know what I mean?
I have my notes here, and you've seen them. I got like 4 or 5 pages of notes that I could go through, so I could talk about this all fucking day long. I know you took some notes as well. Was there anything that really stood out to you within the first episode or two that maybe just helps give you some insight into like maybe the different characters or some of the different world building that they've done within the anime?
Yeah, right off the bat, there's a huge difference between the Monkey D. Luffy in the live action and the anime, and I don't. They may have had their reasons why they changed this a little bit, but Monkey D. Luffy was absolutely blunt and ruthless in
He
the
was.
anime, and the way he speaks is it's hilarious. It really is hilarious. Rude as hell, but it's hilarious.
Oh, he is
Um,
totally rough around the edges, 100%
oh
in the
yeah,
anime.
yeah. And in the live action, he's just they've made him. Now it doesn't steer too far from at all from what Monkey D. Luffy is in the anime, but they, what's the word, predominantly um focused on his cockiness, or at least his calm, cool, and collected aura, you know what I mean, or attitude. And I think down the road we kind of actually see why he's like that, and I think it all just comes down to the roots of Shanks. You know what I mean? Like, obviously we see that Shanks is Monkey D. Luffy's idol. You know what I mean?
Oh,
His inspiration to why he wants to become a pirate. Um,
100%.
he wants to be just like him, right? And I think that's kind of the attitude and personality that Monkey D. Luffy absorbs is Shanks's, right? And Shanks is, from what we've seen, is he's very cool, calm, and collected, and only fights when it's necessary.
Right.
And at most times it's not necessary if it's something small, right?
Yeah.
Which again, what we've seen was it pissed off Monkey D. Luffy, because Monkey D. Luffy he has this picture of what a pirate is, right? And it's that ruthlessness. It's that eagerness to fight and battle
Well,
and just be hardcore.
yeah, well, he's looking at it through the lens of a child, right? Like I think
Right.
we're all guilty of that. Like I mean, you can go back to when you were a kid and you think about a pirate, you probably think of someone that just like pillages, drinks all
For sure.
day, is out on the ocean. They're pretty ruthless. Um, but I want to speak to your point. You said, okay, so one of the biggest differences between Luffy in the anime to the live action is he's a lot more ruthless in the anime, which is I would agree. He's a little bit more like off the cuff in the anime, whereas in the live action, I feel like they've definitely made him um, be kind of carefree, but very inspirational to like almost everybody that he interacts with. Because it does
For
seem
sure.
like he wants the best for everybody. But I think you used the word cockiness, and I think the thing with Luffy, either way you slice it, whether it's the anime or the live action, is I would replace that word with confidence. He's so confident that he is going to be the king of the pirates in either adaptation that nobody can change his mind. That he's already got it in his head, like he has dialed in. He knows, I'm going to find the One Piece. I'm going to be king of the pirates. You can't tell me that I'm not, and there's nothing that you can do that's going to stop me from achieving my goal. It's contagious. it
For sure, for
it
sure.
it makes you root for him, and I personally I love it. But again, I agree. There is a big difference between the two characters in both adaptions, and that was
Yeah,
something I
go ahead.
noticed right away. Um, at least in the interactions that you see just in the first couple episodes in either adaptation.
No, and absolutely, and then it goes from like different perspectives as well, right? I mean, we see it a little bit of cockiness, we see a little bit of confidence, but we also see from the other perspective of the people who are he is involved with, or at least meets up along the way. They do believe he's arrogant or ignorant in a way,
Well,
where
he
it was.
is. He
Well,
is.
exactly, right? In his eyes, he's not. In their eyes, they're like, this guy's crazy. This guy is crazy. He actually thinks he's going to become the king of the pirates, and it is that inspiration and that urge to be that which drives him to, I assume, eventually become the king of the pirates. I mean, come on, 20 seasons, let's go.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, right? I mean, he meets all these people, and they're like, wow, like what. This guy has no idea
Well,
how bad this is going to get,
well,
but yet he's still all for it.
yeah. Well, I mean, you think about it. Well, no, it's 10 years since Luffy decides that he wants to be a pirate, and he proclaims that to Shanks, and
Yeah,
Shanks gives him the hat. You skip forward 10 years later, and now he's super confident. I'm gonna be king of the pirates. I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna find the One Piece, and that's all great. But the ignorance really shows just in how he doesn't understand how the world actually works around him, between the
sure.
Marines, between the different pirates. I mean, you already have established pirates and their crews that are either getting close to the One Piece. I'm gonna presume, because I mean, what, it's been a rat race for 20 years.
Yeah,
Someone's got to be getting closer or incredibly more powerful. We don't know where Shanks is, because we, in the first episode we get that interaction with Shanks and Luffy, and then they part ways. He leaves him the hat. He goes off to sea. We don't see Shanks come back like at all in Romance Dawn. So we don't really know what's going on with that character, how powerful he is, if he's even close to getting the One Piece, or if that was even one of his goals. It's not really laid out in the early episodes that he wants to go after that. Um,
yeah,
so Luffy wants the One Piece, and by all by all means, there is a good possibility that he's going to be the one to find it. At least he believes that in his own brain. So we know in the first episode, Luffy steals the gum gum fruit. Not, I don't even think it was on purpose. He was just hungry. I mean, the kid loves to eat, right? So he eats the gum gum fruit, and obviously he becomes a rubber man. And that shocks Shanks, shocks everybody, because it was a devil fruit. He shouldn't have ate it, and now he loses the ability to swim. But one of the things that really caught my eye wasn't necessarily the gum gum fruit. However, I am wondering just how many devil fruits are in universe. Like, are we talking 12? Are there multiple of the gum gum? Are there 100 different fruits? I don't, obviously we don't get that answer. I'm sure we're going to get it. But one of the things that stood out was while they were in the bar, while he's eating the gum gum fruit, the mountain bandits show up and interrupt all of Shank's crew while they're having their drinks, right? It
yeah.
kind of made me like, I don't know if this is like an in-universe thing or if it's just completely headcanon, but is there a rivalry, do you think, between different mountain bandits all across the world and different pirates? Like, these guys seem to just hate each other right off the hop because of
So
their affiliation.
yeah, I think to be honest, from what obviously we've seen so far that we'll later talk about, I feel like everybody is just out to get each other in a sense, right? It's all crews one for one, one for one. You know what I mean? It's everybody's against each other, right?
Yeah, I know that makes sense.
Um, especially the ones with good intention, slightly good morale. We're speaking of pirates here. You can only be so good, but
Yeah.
um, I think we're just kind of witnessing the good and evil here, right? And we're witnessing that Shanks is somewhat of a vigilante sense kind of crew, right? Um, and the mountain crew just seems kind of you know, they're ruthless, they're bullies, they're they are the typical pirate that we all know and imagine, right? Is just they're the ruthless type, right? And I think
Right.
that was kind of just the interaction that was kind of showing us that this is going to be a dog eat dog world, and almost a lesson if you're looking at Monkey's view of this scenario here. Um, Obviously, because like I said before, Shanks deals with the ruthlessness from the mountains differently, right?
Well,
In his own way.
you're right. I mean, the way he handles the mountain bandits is a lesson in itself for Luffy and for the audience, right? Because you see very quickly that the way Shanks operates is not as this ruthless, just violent pirate. He's cool, calm, calculated. He knows when to fight, knows when to be reserved. He's not going to waste his energy or his time. And he's smart, right? I mean, we there's something going on with Shanks. There really is, and I mean this early on. I mean, we're only on the first episode, and you see Shanks literally tell a sea monster to get lost, and it does. Now, obviously they're foreshadowing something. I just I don't know what it could be. Is he like, clearly he's got the ability to do something. I don't know if it's the ability to like speak to an animal, if it's his ability to control sea monsters.
Yeah, like has he? Again, the question has been brought up: has he eaten one of those devil fruits?
Right, and that's what I thought.
He can connect with sea creatures or just animals in general. And I mean, let's talk about. He lost an arm, and he didn't flinch.
No, he lost. he loses the arm all in one shot. He's there, and then the arm's gone.
He just stares it down and goes, "Get out of here." That's it.
My favorite thing about him losing the arm is Luffy is more concerned about Shanks losing his arm than Shanks is about losing his own arm. He even says, "It's okay, I got another one." Like, it's no big deal. Small price to pay for you to be safe. Like, if that guy isn't the perfect father figure for a kid like Luffy, or even for me, Shanks' daddy, let's be real, I don't know who is. I don't know what is a better role model in the world of pirates. Shanks is up there for me.
I mean, I can only imagine that if I was ever in that situation and I was looking down at my kids and my arm was gushing out blood and I just got half eaten by a sea monster, I hope that one day that I would be cool and calm and collected like he was.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, I have a hard enough time keeping it together when, something is out of stock at the grocery store.
Yeah, or I stub a toe or step on Lego. It ain't no sea creature, but it's a bed, it's a couch, it's you just stubbed your toe, and honestly, it really is one of the worst feelings, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. But like you had said, okay, so there's a possibility that Shanks ate a devil fruit.
Yeah.
How many devil fruits do you think there actually are out there in the world of One Piece?
Axan Morgan talks to Luffy about the devil fruit because they just found out that Luffy he ate a devil fruit, and that's why he's rubber, because they were, I guess, fighting. And a screen popped up, and
I remember what you're talking about.
Yeah, it showed a cross of devil fruits. Now, again, we'll go back and do our research, maybe throw up some pictures. But from what I remember, there's got to be at least 12 different ones that they showed. Now, that could have just been there for an example for part of the dialogue, but he only describes 2 of them, leaving out Luffy's. He described fire, and I believe he described ice.
Was it ice or
wind
water?
or something?
I know, I can't remember.
Anyways,
we just watched.
That, I know. This is stuff we should have written down, but whatever.
It's all good.
But Yeah. So he describes two of them. That's not including Luffy's. That's not including other devil fruits that we are probably going to encounter between each bad guy that we see. Who knows if it's just a ruthless bad guy or a bad guy that's got devil fruit that
Right.
Luffy's going to have to fight. But yeah, so there seems to be quite a few. And he said they're rare. So a lot of people, a lot of pirates don't even know exactly what any of these devil fruits do, or they don't even know how many there are.
At least that's the impression that you get right off the hop.
Yeah,
Right there.
exactly,
I mean,
exactly.
once we get further into the series, I'm sure that there are going to be people that either have eaten the devil fruit or they have experienced or witnessed other people that have these powers. So they,
Yeah.
I think as we continue on the journey, we're going to get more information about the devil fruit and get more familiar with the different kinds that maybe are in universe. But let's talk a little bit about episode 2, because episode 2 was a huge episode. We got introduced to a lot of new characters. We got introduced to Alvida, the captain of the ship. We got introduced to Kobe, her cabin boy, and then a name drop for the demon Roanoa Zoro, and we don't get to see him on screen in episode 2, but they do talk about him. Episode 2 is mostly fixated on the relationship between Luffy being found by Kobe, so their relationship as as they just get to know each other. Kobe really just talking to Luffy about his dreams, which have absolutely nothing to do with Alvida. He wants to join the Marines, and Luffy is going to basically liberate Kobe off this ship so he can go and live out his dreams with the Marines. Um, I think one of the things that really stood out to me was just how much of a straight shooter Luffy is in his conversations with Alvida, his conversations with Kobe. I mean, he actually even calls Kobe in the episode. He says, he, "I hate people like you," because
Yeah, yeah. He called him a wimp,
but yeah, because he's a coward.
a
He's
coward. Yeah,
and he straight up tells him, I hate
I
people
hate
like
people
you.
like you. Yeah,
Which
yeah,
just again it reinforces your earlier point of just how different his character is uh from the anime to the live action adaptation, because I don't think he says that in the live action. At least to
no,
Kobe.
he says similar things with different wording. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean he alludes to it. Like
Yeah.
I, I don't think he alludes to like I hate you, but I definitely think he alludes to the whole idea like you're kind of a wimp, you're a coward. Like
And
come on.
it kind of all brings it right back to the reason why he hates people like that. And it's not as, it's Shanks, right? Because remember, he was back there in the bar
Mhm.
and basically calls Shanks a coward. You're a coward because he wasn't going to do anything to the mountain men, right? And he didn't react the way Luffy wanted him to react.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I think this brings it back down to that instance where he's now dealing with another coward, and another person who won't stand up for himself, as Luffy believes that you should, as
Mhm.
that's his image of what kind of pirate he wants to be at this particular moment. This is the idea of what he wants to be. He wants to stand up for himself, and he doesn't understand why people don't stand up for themselves, right? So he's meeting these different characters that kind of test his patience and ideology of pirates and of just people in general. You know what I mean? Because obviously, the world's full of bad people, and bad things get done to good people, and those good people should be doing something about those bad people, and they don't. You know what I mean?
And
It's in realism is that not everybody is going to have that confidence or that strength or that intelligence
yeah.
or just sheer just build. You know what I mean? To be able to stand up for themselves.
Well, I mean, you look at real world stuff, right? The ability to speak up for yourself, defend yourself, or even get yourself out of a situation that you're uncomfortable in. A lot of people, they have have difficulty getting through that, because that's, no one likes confrontation, and I think when you look at Kobe has basically settled that this is his reality now. There's nothing I can do to fix this, and part of that is not because of Kobe, it's because of Alvida. Alvida, this big dominant woman with her mace and her pirate crew. And when you look at that through the eyes of Kobe, who's this small little guy, no abilities, no powers, no real strength, no inner strength, how do you get through that? How are you going to get through that and not be killed just for saying what you think or how you feel? And so, you see him play along, go through the motions, and everything he's doing is basically just one more day to keep himself alive, keep Alvida happy, and hopefully everything doesn't go south for him. It's Luffy, though. Luffy, the beacon of hope, that person that just ignites that little spark in him, where you get to see that awesome interaction that leads to Luffy defeating Alvida, so that way Kobe and Luffy can get off that ship and get out of there. But it also speaks to Luffy's ability, because the last time you see him in episode 1, he's this kid who stabs himself in the eye, kind of silly, really ignorant to the ways of the world and what a pirate should be, maybe. And then you see him the very next episode, you see him, and he uses a gum pistol to take out a well-known, already established, I've got a bounty on me pirate, like it's nothing.
No, absolutely. Gets hit in the head with that big club as well, and nothing happens.
Yeah, just eats it, man.
It's kind of like the introduction to what and how strong he is, right? And the strength that his ability comes with, right?
And I don't even think he understands how strong he actually is. Because
no,
like
I don't think he does. No.
Yeah, like stuff will happen to this guy, and I think it shocks him as much as it shocks other people that he was able to rebound a bullet or take a mace to the head. I don't think he understands the full gravity of just how powerful he may be. I'm sure we'll get to see that over the course of the series, but when you're starting off right from the get-go, like, you're not expecting this guy to just like take out a well-known, adversary, and he does like it's nothing.
No, yeah, exactly. And I think this is the journey, right? This is the beginning of the journey of his abilities, and what he can do with them, and how far he can go with them, and how much damage he can take to. And that's another question: is can anything hurt him?
Yeah, right? And that's the thing.
What can hurt him? Like, is there specific things that can hurt him? Is there specific knives? Like, what is it that can hurt a rubber man? You know what I mean? We can have our own ideas, but I mean, like, burn him.
Yeah, it's rubber, right?
Melt his ass. Yeah.
Like, we do know that because he ate the devil fruit, he can't swim.
He can't swim.
So right. I mean, if you really wanted to make short work of it, you throw him in the water, and as long as no one's saving him, he's dead.
Correct.
But outside of that, it's like, yeah, what else can kill him? Is it a sword? Is it fire? Is it ice? Is it magic? Is there magic in the universe? I don't actually know. But anyways, at the end of the day,
either, but it does open up a question of, like, what are the dragon fruits have so many questions, because what are the downfalls of eating a dragon fruit?
What's a dragon fruit?
Are not a dragon fruit? Sorry,
You're thinking about Dragon Ball Z right now, aren't you?
No.
You just want to put those Dragon Balls in your mouth.
Devil's fruit.
Oh, there you go.
Whatever.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
So, like, is every downfall of the devil's fruit the same, or are they different? Like,
I think from what I understand, it's the same, that you just can't swim.
So anybody who eats a devil's fruit just can't swim.
I think that's part of the condition, yeah. And I know they talk about it later when we get to Orangetown, but we'll save that for another video.
Yeah, for sure.
So now in episode 2, obviously, like I said, they name drop Zoro as this incredible demon. We obviously know he's a pirate bounty hunter, he's hunting pirates.
Yeah.
Right. So Um, and Kobe seems really worried about this guy. Apparently, he's got a really big reputation, incredibly strong, incredibly violent, and terrifying. Luffy wants him to be a part of his crew, and that's where we get to see Zoro for the very first time, and that's the Marines. They've got him held prisoner. He's up against that wood, all tied up, and that's basically our first introduction to this incredible bounty hunter, who's going to be an incredible asset to the story, and to Luffy's journey as well. So yeah, we see Luffy, we see Kobe. They arrive in Shelltown, which I thought was funny because the name is Shellstown, and there was no fucking shells anywhere. I didn't see any shells. Did you see any shells anywhere in the town?
No.
No, not at all. Like I said, we see Zoro tied to the post at the Marine base, and then and the town. They're just like they're oddly scared of not just Zoro, but they're terrified of Axe Hand Morgan, who's supposed to be this big Marine. Was it like a commander in this neighborhood or in this town? And I know that alarms Kobe. Kobe's worried that everybody seems to be worried about Morgan just about as much as Zoro. Zoro, who proves an actual threat because he's a bounty hunter. Why would they be afraid of a Marine?
Yeah.
Especially, and so what were your thoughts on what are your thoughts on Axe Hand Morgan?
So again, this kind of just leads to from my differences of seeing the live action and seeing the anime.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
he's a lot more badass and a lot more scary in the anime than he is in the live action.
I can agree with that.
I think he's a little bit more tamed or held back. I think a little bit more in the live action.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the anime, yeah, he seems like again, and from what it looks like, they're just trying to create each, let's say, army of bad guys. The Marines are supposed to be the good guys, but they have a ruthless leader, and it's probably the premise of most crews here, right?
Right.
Again, the Marines is just being looked at as just another crew they got to go through, and they have a leader, and he's badass, and he's obviously going to be a big battle to face, and when that time came, and yeah, it was interesting to see how different he was, and the relationship he had with his son as well
Helmeppo.
was pretty fucking hilarious as
Oh,
well.
it's drastically different. And
Yeah,
like you said, the stark difference for me with Axe Hand Morgan between the anime and the live action is I found he is 100 times more narcissistic in the anime. I mean,
yeah,
when you first meet him, it's a shot from behind, and he's sitting at his desk or whatever, proclaiming just how great he is. I am great. I am great. Like
yeah,
the dude is drinking his own fucking like Pepsi. He thinks he's the hottest shit ever, and then you see that in Helmeppo when you meet him, his son.
yeah.
It's just so fucking annoying, man. Helmeppo just drives me nuts.
I know, and it's funny the differences again with this episode is that when it comes, what happens in the live action, right? Is they've recreated this whole scene where the
Yeah.
little girl in the live action, they find this little girl at the bar that they're
Right.
at, right? And she brings Zoro food. In the live action, Zoro's not tied up at this moment, right?
Right.
And she brings some food, and this is where Hibapo stomps on the food. But in the anime, this all happens while Zoro is tied up, and the
Yeah.
girl hops over the wall there to bring him food, and he chucks that little girl right over the wall.
He throws her right over the wall.
Oh man, that throw, bro. I think that's when I think that's just was like holy crap,
Like,
man.
have you ever picked up a child and just thrown them over a wall? Do you know what kind of forearm strength you would need? Maybe we're underestimating how powerful Hamepo is.
Well, and I think in the anime he does obviously have some power, right? He's got some strength to him. The live action, I think there was really no importance to giving him too much strength, because of the character he betrays isn't. You wouldn't think he's got any strength whatsoever, right? So,
No, that's true.
and it really doesn't come to any significance except for the little girl toss.
Yeah.
That's about it.
I think that specific scene that you're talking about though, that really highlights not just Helmeppo's character, but Zoro very specifically, because here you have this tough bounty hunter. In the anime, he's tied up to the wood post, right? He's all tied up, he's starving, he's already been out there for a number of days, and this little girl brings him these sweet rice balls and he refuses to eat them, you know.
Yeah.
Helmeppo, he stomps on them, gets dirt in them, tosses the girl, what have you. And just in seeing how Helmeppo treats this girl, he decides to eat whatever he possibly can from the leftover rice off the ground. And
Yep.
it's like this sense of honor, doing the right thing almost. And I mean,
And in the anime, it almost looks like he's desperate. He's desperate for
yeah.
food, for that energy, right? But in the live action, it was a very honorable thing that he said, you know what? She gave it to me. This was a gift. I'm gonna still eat it, to prove a point also, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And at that point in the live action, there was no desperation. It was just pure honor, right? And just pure respect for what this little girl was offering, and a shove it to the face of Amepo. But yeah, the little bit of difference there, where in the anime he was desperate and he needed that food, and it kind of just gave that little girl just that more importance of
Yeah.
what what we're just about to get into. I mean, he's stranded here, right? And it's just survival
I
at
think
that point.
I think it does also, like you say, it speaks to his character as well, right? Like it really does, because you see that moment, and it's not very long after, because like we're talking about episodes 3 through 5 at this point. Um, that's where we start to get to see the backstory of Zoro, which is incredibly important to just understanding how his brain works, how he makes decisions, and just who he is as a person, outside of the fact that he's this demon, this bounty hunter, this cruel being, right? We get to see the backstory of when he was younger, training with Kuina, and then, of course, she dies, and he inherits her sword, the Wado Ichimonji, or whatever, I can't say it. That was my best shot. The Wado Ichimonji. Anyway, it sounds like some kind of ramen, but and I would eat it. But either way, you get to see just how seriously he takes that, right? Because we're talking about a rival turned friend he's going to rise through the ranks with. They're going to practice. They're going to train every day. They're going to become the world's strongest swordsman. She dies. He inherits not just his legacy, but her legacy as well. He is responsible to make sure that he becomes the world's strongest swordsman. Not just for himself, but for her as well. I think that really, just that small little interaction with the little girl and the rice balls, plus you get that backstory, it just really rounds out just how incredible this character is.
Oh, absolutely. And it's just starts the beginning of how the beginning of the episode, people were afraid of him. It gives you that kind of
Yeah.
idea that he's also here's another ruthless pirate or pirate hunter. You know what I mean? But it's the kind of the beginning of, okay, so he might be a decent guy, and we're about to find out more about him, right? And
Yeah.
I will say, I mean, I absolutely loved how in detail they go into his backstory than they did with the live action. Now, they got to the point in live action, but in the anime, I really like how deep they went, because it made you feel more for it. than
Right,
the live
yeah.
action did.
They also give it to you a lot earlier in the story in the anime
Yeah,
than in the live action, which is a big difference. One of the things I noticed was Zoro is not as reluctant in the anime to join Luffy's crew. And when he does, his allegiance is like set. Like he immediately is like, I am going to be a part of your crew, and he acknowledges Luffy as his captain.
yeah,
You don't see that very quickly in the live action. There's a lot of banter back and forth for a few episodes where, Nami and Zoro seem to be reluctant to even be associated with Luffy. You don't
true.
you don't see that very often in the anime. Zoro seems like he's very loyal to Luffy and he barely knows him.
Yeah, I think that battle between the battle between the Marines and Zoro. I mean, I really liked that. Again, the battles are very detailed in the anime, and I really like it. I mean, not to say
Yeah.
that live action pulled it off, but trust
Oh,
me, they pulled it off. I love the battles in
well
the live action.
the fighting in the live action is insane.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, it's
really good. Very good choreography. And but I think that battle between the Marines and then you got Zoro and Monkey. I think that created the little bond that solidified that this was it.
yeah, I
This
can
was
see
the
that.
moment where he also decided that, you know what? Wow, like he's. It seems like we've good chemistry
Hmm.
when they were fighting. They look like they got each other's back. And I think that just made his answer just a little bit easier. And I think that's really all they needed to explain was that if I'm going to be the greatest swordsman, I'm going to need him. I'm going to need this Luffy guy. You know what I mean? Because he seems like he would be good to have beside him fighting. You know what I mean?
I agree. And then I also want to add one of the things that, because we talked about it earlier, when you first start this journey, episode 1, you see Luffy as a little kid and he's looking at how Shanks should be in his mind as a pirate, this tough,
Yeah.
ruthless guy. But Shanks kind of breaks the mold, right?
Yeah.
It's funny how you jump the 10 years, you get a little bit further into Romance Dawn, and as Luffy's interacting with all these different people, Kobe and Alvida and Zoro and Morgan, all these characters, none of them are ready for the kind of pirate that Luffy is. They all expect him to be the like cookie cutter pirate,
Yeah.
ruthless, violent, and yet he's not. He's friendly, he's straightforward, he cares about the people that are around him, even if he doesn't really know them. He's breaking the mold. Whether he
Yeah.
means to do it or not, he's setting a different tone. And I think that was one of the reasons why Zoro was okay with joining Luffy and his crew, or becoming his first crew member.
Yeah.
Um, because he's looking at this character and he's going, this isn't the same kind of pirate that I've been hunting. These are not the same. This is a totally different kind of pirate, and I can be down with that.
Yeah.
So I think one of the things I really liked um, in the last few episodes of Romance Dawn, again, it was the fight scene when they finally defeat Exhand Morgan.
Yeah.
Obviously, the town's happy about it. The Marines are happy about it. But I think the thing I like the most is as you come to the close, it's the interaction between Kobe and Luffy one more time. We already saw
Yeah.
on Alvida's ship, Kobe's worried about, confronting Alvida and pursuing his dreams of joining the Marines and just getting the fuck off that ship. And Luffy helps make it happen. Now all this stuff takes place in Shellstown. Kobe, Zoro, and Luffy they're all hanging out,
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
and the Marines come by to tell them, look, thank you for getting rid of Axan Morgan, thank you for helping us out, but since you guys are pirates, you got a GTFO. And Luffy, because he's Luffy, he helps Kobe join the Marines.
I beaten the shit out of him.
He beats the crap out of him so they can fight, and the Marines can just look at this situation and go, obviously you guys are not together. I love the send off right at the very end where you see Zoro and Luffy off in their little boat,
Yeah.
and Kobe comes to basically salute him off, and the Marines come as well. And when they all give the salute and thank Luffy and Zoro, they punish themselves for 3 days of no eating. I
Oh,
thought,
yeah, yeah,
I was like, that's so funny. The fact that they hold themselves to that high of a standard because they
yeah,
saluted off some pirates and, gave them some well wishes. No food for you for 3 days. I was like,
yeah,
fuck.
yeah. We need to be punished now.
But I wonder if that's a little bit of trauma because earlier in an episode, remember, Axan Morgan is like, you guys are a bunch of cowards. I want you to shoot yourselves, kill yourselves, because you're worth more to me if you shoot yourself than if you stay alive. And I wonder a little bit if they just have some unresolved trauma about punishing themselves. I instantly thought of Dobby from Harry Potter, who's like, I shouldn't be doing this, and he starts smacking himself with the fucking lamp.
Yeah, for sure,
It's
for
like,
sure.
yeah, it
Yeah,
was,
they went against what they're used to, or at least what the norm for them is, right? And
yeah.
they all they know is, if you do anything like this, you get punished, and their code, that's the way it is, right? And they're Marines, and yeah, they're gonna punish themselves so they can remember next time not to help pirates.
So that's all of Romance Dawn. I think we've covered almost all the points that we wanted to cover. Is there anything else that you wanted to bring up?
No, that's about it. It's I think we cleared up all the big moments that create this beginning journey of One Piece for us. We know obviously that we're going to be meeting new crew members, new bosses. We're going to be introduced to some new devil's fruit. Yeah, it's going to be quite the adventure. I mean, we broke it down to the point that we're going to be seeing a lot of different personalities and characters that will collide or mesh at the same time with Luffy, and I think we're gonna learn more about Luffy as well and all these different characters, which is going to be super interesting to see, and how far of a background we get to see, how deep we go into getting to know these characters, how important some of these bosses are to Luffy's life and the journey, how that impacts them, what happens to Shanks. There's so much that this first chapter brought to us where it was like, okay, you left me with more questions. And this is what I'm talking about. I mean, if there's, with most shows, the first season or first chapter is almost like are you interested? Did this show work out? Is it enough to keep you wanting more? And I think when it comes down to it, yeah, I think it left us with a lot of questions and a lot of I want to see more. And it wasn't of just I want to just see more of this one little piece of One Piece. It's I want to see more of every character. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? There's so many characters we've been introduced to that I want to know more of. And this is going to be a long adventure, and I can't wait to see what it's going to bring us.
Oh,
I want, I
absolutely.
want, I want more. And
Ro-
as we've done, me and you, we've been obsessed with it. You know what I mean? We've
yeah.
been obsessed. You're getting more into the manga. I'm getting more into the Funkos. You know what I mean? As you can see, you know what I mean? Um, yeah, it's intrigued more than just I want to see more of the TV show. It's or the anime. It's I want to see. I want to absorb myself with this.
I know One Piece is starting to like actually take over my life. I mean, like you said, I want the Funkos, I want flags, I want little pirate ships,
Merch.
I want T-shirts. I want to
Yeah.
read the manga, which I have been doing. It's been absolutely unreal to see the
Yeah.
differences between the manga, the anime, and the live action because there's plenty. But that was Romance Dawn. all broken down for everyone. Those were our thoughts, our opinions. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments section or let us know what you guys thought about anything that we had to say throughout this episode. Next time, guys, we're going to be taking a look at Orange Town, so make sure that you sub to the channel and catch that next video as we dive into Orange Town probably next week.
Just before we go, Derek, give us your rating for this chapter.
Dude, okay, so Romance Dawn, because it's that, I wouldn't even call it tip of the iceberg. I'd call it a snowflake on a very large mountain. It's just a little inkling of information in a really big world. As much as I loved Romance Dawn, if I had to score it out of 5, I'm going to give it a solid 3. And I'm going to leave it at that. I think there's definitely some room to grow, but as far as an introduction into a new world with some new characters for the very first time ever, I thought it did a good enough job that I want to continue watching the show.
Well, for sure. Solid rating for sure.
What did you rate it?
I rated it at a... Now, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to rate these things, right? Because I mean, we got 20 seasons, and I want to give the first chapter a good rating because again, this is going to be the beginning. It is what started my interest. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
It's the introduction to Luffy and all these awesome characters that are going to come along. I'm going to give it a 4. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. I mean, I think it was a great introduction. I think it was funny. It was adventurous. There was battle. There was action, which was sweet. So yeah, again, I'm excited to see more. Again, they're going to give it a 5. I don't think any of them are really going to get a 5 unless it really blows me away.
Anybody think, before you go too far, is there anybody that thinks there is a 5 out of 5 story arc in One Piece? Let us know.
Yeah, let us know, because I'll wait until we get there. Absolutely.
All right, that's it from us. Thanks for watching. And if you guys enjoyed this episode, tune in next week for our breakdown on Orange Town. See you next time. Yo, Jacobite, you ready to go and deep dive into the world of One Piece?
One piece at a time.
One piece at a time. I'm gonna be the king of the pirates.
The king of the pirates.
Dude, I should have probably bought a hat that fits.
I mean, maybe. I mean, was there different sizes?
Nope. This was like one size fits all, but I got a big head.
Okay. Yep. So you were probably shit out of luck to begin with.